So
No.
during the Depression, I mean, the Great Depression, no one had money, right? So most companies stopped advertising because they felt like they were bleeding. Well, Wrigley Gum continued to advertise. And after the Depression, actually, I think it might have been during the First World War, I'm not sure. But after that, they exploded. All the other competition was dead. And this is why it's interesting. If you're the only person advertising for a long period of time, you become so entrenched, it's hard to beat. And so there's a quote that says, um, in a room full of people, you can't even hear someone yelling, but in an empty room, even a whisper can be heard. So if you think about it, if you're, let's say you're running an HVAC company and things are slow, and then everyone has stopped advertising, you're the only person talking in that room. Everyone can hear you. But what we typically do is we stop when the room is empty and we wait until it's extremely hot and the demand is there and we start to run ads. Well, guess what? You're in a room full of people, everyone's yelling and you're yelling also. Really, you wanna be in a room where it's quiet, right? So I believe, yeah, if you wanna ramp it up during the demand season, I believe that's a great strategy instead of ramping it down during the slow season. So you have your base, you say, "This is how much I'm gonna spend on branded
Mhm.
ads, X amount, I'm gonna do that throughout the year, I'm never gonna go lower than this, but maybe in the higher demand season, I might go higher than this." Because you're branding. Now, which brings up a good
Mhm.
point. Now I wanna hear your thoughts on this. So, what makes a good ad and what makes a bad ad? Because I hear a lot of people when I'm consulting clients and they'll say, "Well, I tried this, I tried that. I tried postcards, I tried Facebook ads, I tried this type of ad. It didn't work." But if I go up and I advertise my HVAC company, I run a Facebook ad and I'm wearing this, okay, and I'm in front of a tree and there's no branding, no one's gonna remember that. I can put $100,000 in that ad versus
Yeah.
I'm wearing my uniform, I'm in front of my truck, I'm saying a slogan, I'm saying my business name. I can put a lot less money in that. So it's really not about the platform. It's about the ad. What are your thoughts on that?
It's all about the message. You want to get to eye-catching ads, but there's really a step-by-step process to getting to that point. You want to introduce yourself to the service area. So when you look at a bad ad versus a good ad, bad ads in my mind are going to be cookie cutter ads that everyone sees the same exact thing. So whenever you see an ad that shows an HVAC unit, hey, we have a sale going on now. This is that. 20 other companies are going to be doing that in your service area. And at that point, it all comes down to the offer, which is going to be your price. So you're going to have to start price, or you're going to have to get creative with, the rebates. So when it comes to a good ad, number one, you as the business owner, you want to be in front of the camera. And I know I have a couple clients that aren't comfortable in front of the camera, and we have essentially someone who is the face of the company, right? So we use, a paid actor almost. But for the most part, whenever the owner's in front of the camera introducing, their company, always just 10 out of 10 always works better than just a regular photo ad that just drops a price. Those are still good to use because you have to have those where they show up on like Instagram Explore, certain pages that don't really allow videos and it's just like a really quick pop up. So if you have a really great offer, use a picture because it's just going to pop up. Like I have one client that has no credit, bad credit, no problem. Killed it with just a photo ad. But then we put him in front of the camera and it's, hi, my name is Brian. I'm here with Brian's HVAC. You give a backstory about where you're from, what your company kind of stands for. And yeah, we've been supporting our schools for so long. We do this retreat like every single year for teachers, and we're just pumped to be part of this community that we've been part of for so long. And it's just, and then it shows B-roll of them being part of the community, going to like, farmers markets, having a stand set up, showing their truck and showing their face while they're wearing a polo always works because then you get the recognition. So when you're driving around, people will, look to their right while they're driving. They're like, oh, that's a truck that I've seen in the Facebook ads because Facebook and Meta for branding is outrageous. You get 10,000 people reached every single month around there, and it all depends on your ad spend, obviously. But those are the types of ads that you want to be pushing out first. And I always see people making the mistake of not editing their videos. The video will start with them taking a gasp of air and then readying themselves and then basically giving the script that they memorize, and it just looks very awkward. And, that's the thing that we do. We write scripts for our clients where we're like, this is just the overall flow. This is what you want to say and when you want to say it. And it breaks it down into four simple parts. Part one's going to be your introduction, who you are, what you do. Part two is going to be how you are an impact in your community, what you guys are doing different. So go back to, we volunteer and we help, teachers in our school district and all that stuff. And then you also want to be dropping an offer, right? So you have to have an offer in there, like, no credit, bad credit, like, no problem. We can help you out. And then number 4 is going to be your call to action. So whenever we write these scripts for people, the very first videos, whenever a client signs on, the very first few videos are always not the best, right? Because they're nervous. They're trying to memorize like word for word what they have to say. But over time, because we guide them, we're like, don't do it word for word. Just get this, what we just said in your mind, and then just make it into your own words. And then it always comes out better. And the thing is, you have video editing. So if you mess up, you pause, you breathe, you can look at your notes if you want, then you just start over again and it just looks seamless, right? And that's what you want it to be. You want it to no gaps or, kind of left in the video. It's all action. You're switching shots, 5 seconds. So you want to switch it from like you talking to a B-roll or you just at a different angle. Those are good ads. The bad ones are when you just have the talking face, like how we're doing this kind of video, where it's just the entire time monotone, no excitement, no animations on the
Yeah.
screen. People are going to tune out. It's all about, kind of not being entertaining, but you have to capture people's attention. And that's what it's all about. Whenever you put yourself out there as a business owner, it builds up that trust. And then the longer you run it, every client that we have, eventually, I know you get this, but my a client we just signed on 2 months ago, he was like, someone just recognized me from the ads at the door. They're like, oh my God, you're the guy from the ad. And he was like, yeah. It was like, it was a really cool feeling. And I was like, yeah, that's a start. Then pretty soon people start recognizing you when you're just at the grocery store, you're out in public, you're at the Home Depot picking up supplies, whatever it is. And it's interesting because that's all about the brand recognition. That's what you want to really aim for.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
leads are going to be always coming
And
in from
if
that.
they
So,
don't come in, if the lead doesn't come in, they'll come in when they're ready, right? That's the thing is people don't stop and think about is, okay, somewhere out there is someone that will need your service in 2 months. Okay. What you're doing is you're having a conversation with them over and over and over and over. And then when they need you, they call you. Okay. But sometimes, and I'm guilty of this, is you run ads and you're like, I didn't get any calls for 2 weeks, but you're still interacting with people, right? So if Miss
mhm.
Susie, her AC goes out next year, you want to be in the conversation the whole previous year so that she calls you, right? But if she's never heard of you and then her AC breaks Monday, you may be one of the 3 people that bid. Okay. But if she's been watching you for a year, and I've had that before where, and we do these ads. I have one that you're running for me where I'm running next to the truck. I'm literally sprinting next to my van. Yeah. People call and then they'll say, oh, I watched you because I just love that video of you running. And they've been watching it for weeks and weeks and weeks. They didn't need me. But then when they needed me, it's like, oh, where's that guy that's always running online? Because if you think about it, you don't have people trapped in handcuffs when you're running a Facebook ad or you're running an Instagram ad. And what I mean is, when we're watching TV, if you're watching The Voice on actual cable and the ad comes on, you can't skip it for the next 15 seconds. Okay. They have to watch it for at least 15
Yeah,
seconds.
you're
But on
there.
Facebook and all these or these reels or TikTok, even if you're not doing paid ads, you're just doing organic content, they can skip it whenever they feel like it. So you can't, it has to be engaging